Speaking of word salad, oh boy, oh boy. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I don't post these clips. I don't pick these clips. I don't slice these things out of stuff. They do. Here's Eric Trump on Newsmax. They're just they're playing the hits today. He's on Carl Higbee Frontline. That's a mouthful. That's not good. Carl Higbee Frontline. Okay, everybody, we're voting at the table. Everybody, we're signing off on that name. Carl Higbee Frontline. Graphics are going to look a little stupid, but let's just do it. I don't know what else to call it. Are we actually on the front line? Not really. Actually, we're kind of backbenchers. It's Newsmax. Here we go. This is Eric Trump, I guess.
Well,
on Carl Higbee Frontline.
A civil trial against former President Donald Trump and his family and his entire business empire.
And everybody, fucking anybody who's orange.
Quite frankly, continuing today right here in New York City as Attorney General Letitia James follows through on a campaign promise seeking to
promises made, promises
make her case that the Trump organization somehow fraudulently overvalued.
Somehow? I don't know. Next thing it'd tell us that nobody learned anything at Trump University. Fuck. Or that Trump water doesn't have roofies in it. Shit.
Its assets. Fired up Donald Trump sounding off outside the trial room. Listen to this.
Yeah, fired up. I would say freaking out, but sure.
The former president, the leading candidate, I'm leading Joe Biden by a lot, which is probably why this is all happening. Not probably, why it's definitely.
Never second guess yourself. Take out the probably, though. It makes me sound wishy-washy.
Coordinating with Washington, 100%.
This trial is a disgrace. Technically calls everything a disgrace, so I don't know why.
But without that, none of these cases would be going on. They've weaponized justice in our country.
Oh, well, okay. So you're admitting that you're getting justice. I guess that's progress.
This trial is a disgrace.
Well, joining me now is one man weathering the storm right.
If anybody who knows what a disgrace is, it's the second tier son and the first person to be thrown under the bus in the Trump family because he can't find Tiffany because she's smart enough to stay away. Eric Trump.
Next to his old man, Eric Trump. Eric, I'm sorry you're going through this, brother, but...
And what he's not talking about the trial. He's talking about Laura's singing. And I won't back down. I'll stand my ground. I got 3 fucking notes.
What happened today? What's going on with this? And you've already beaten 80% of this based on...
Yeah, so the other 20% involves the complete dissolution of your dad's entire empire. But the 80% was mostly just, it's kind of like when they get somebody for murder and they had weed possession and they toss off, they don't bother to run the weed possession thing because at this point we got bigger fish to fry, as it were. On
statute of limitations, so what else is going on?
The whole thing's corrupt. Listen, Carl, New York's a corrupt state. Everybody knows that.
It's a corrupt state. Everybody knows it. That's why we made our money. If it wasn't a corrupt state, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be yet another third-tier loser in a family full of losers. But thank God it was a corrupt state for as long as it was, or I wouldn't even be here. Anyways, have you heard my wife's new single?
At this point, right? You have a corrupt attorney general who literally...
Yeah, corrupt. C-R-U-P.
Really ran on the campaign promise of taking down my father. She goes on.
And won.
I'm going to go after Donald. I'm going to take down his family. I'm going to go after his children. I'm going to get...
I don't think his children. His adult children.
Her exact quote. I'm going to get to the office of Attorney General every day. I'm going to sue Donald Trump. And then I'm going to go home. I mean, she'd fundraise off of this nonsense. Like, this was...
Right. People are giving her money. People are excited to see your family finally dragged before a judge after all these fucking years.
Her entire platform going after Donald. Right after.
And it was successful. New Yorkers agreed.
My father. Then obviously she gets into office and she does exactly that. And
because unlike your dad, she fulfills the promises she made on the campaign trail.
We've got a crooked court and everything else, but actually I think we're making a breakthrough with the judge. I think they're trying to realize there are no victims. First of all, my father's statements are...
There are no victims, except anybody else who might have wanted a loan during those years because that money was tied up in bullshit loans that your family didn't deserve.
Undervalued, not overvalued. Second of all, she's going after banks.
And you only undervalued them for tax purposes. Stupid.
She's trying to protect banks that made hundreds of millions of dollars with Trump, meaning there were no...
Because you were bailed out by silent partners. this is the next big stage in this, by the way, is that they're going to find out that he's got silent equity partners in all these projects and that he doesn't actually own large chunks of these buildings that he's got his fucking name on. That the Chicago Trump Tower more than likely has Russian oligarch money holding it up. And they're like, that's one of his LLCs that's just for a bank account. That money flows into there, ends up being used to pay for that section of the building and then refinance it outward so he can make money off the finance, get the money for free, basically, from another source, and then use the debt from that to write off money that he makes anywhere else.
No aggrieved party. There were no defaults. There were no.
Well,
there were 4 bankruptcies.
You guys made
loan
money.
covenants.
You guys made money.
Well,
That's why
we
she
would
hates you.
we'd borrow money.
Yeah.
Go do a great project. Be very successful.
Jobs and homes.
Pay a tremendous amount of interest, and then pay the banks back in full. Like we never.
By the way, he's paying a tremendous amount of interest, like, for example, on Trump Tower Chicago, because everybody else during COVID locked in a rate at 2%. And he was like, while he was president, and they were like, Don Jr., Eric, and Trump himself, because he was involved in it, he was, we're like, fuck that. Dad's going to give negative interest rates. We're going to get like 0.5 percentage point interest. And these fuckers, they're just going to get suckered into paying 2%. We're going to end up paying nothing. The banks are going to pay us to buy buildings. It's going to be fucking sweet. And now they're at like 8%.
Had so much as a default. No one. So we're saying there's
4 bankruptcies. 4. And all of those bankruptcies were based on leveraged properties that we're talking about.
saying, is there a victim in this? I mean, you're suing us and there's no victim, but Carl, it's nonsense. The DOJ has told Letitia James to make my father's life hell.
Well, technically speaking of it, it's just make him aware that his life is hell, I think.
Keep him tied up in a courtroom, to cost him tens and tens of millions of dollars, to distract him.
Tens of millions of dollars. Chicken shit money. Fucking. Fucking. I dropped that much running for the bus. Fucking, who cares? You're billionaires. What's $10 million here or there? I mean, honestly, why are you even worried?
Yeah.
Right? And you know what? He walks in there, and the amount of press there was incredible. And
And he embarrassed himself, and everybody thought he looked like shit, and he looked worried and broken and angry, but the QAnons liked him.
the entire country understands what's happening to my father, not just by.
Yeah, he's finally facing justice after decades of being full of shit.
Jack Smith, but by Letitia, by all the cronies, by the people in Washington,
By the voters and the people of New York who are sick of his
D.C.,
shit.
by the people in Georgia. They have weaponized the legal system to go after Donald Trump. It didn't
Because it had been artificially told to stand down.
work when he was in the White House because you have executive branch protections.
Right.
As soon
Right. Yes, now you don't. So you have your day in court.
as he gets out of the White House, you go after him civilly, you go after criminally, you take him down, you distract him, you try and weaken him. And honestly,
And it's working.
it's a law of unintended consequences. I think they're just actually making him stronger.
I don't think so. I think he looks scared shitless. And also, you're going to lose your business in the state of New York. Sorry. You don't have a constitutional right to have a business in any state. Any state can kick you to the curb for almost any fucking reason. I mean, business is a matter of trust, especially in a place like New York. And if they want to start unraveling the mobbed up bullshit that allegedly Rudy Giuliani was going after, which he wasn't, but whatever, during his time in office, this is a natural extension of that.
Well, the polls reflect that. He's up by like 50 points in the Republican primary.
In the Republican primary, he's not up by 50 points. He's at 50. The other half is divided amongst 9 different fucking people because they don't know who they want, but they don't want him. Half of his own fucking party.
Right now. But they also think that they're showing him 10 points over Joe Biden in some of these things.
In the ones he pays for, you mean?
If they continue, are they just so blind in hatred that they are just going to continue to do this? Because
Yeah, they're just going to help him. Yeah, I don't know why you're even worried. I mean, I think he's just shoo-in. He's probably going to win. So, yeah. I mean, I would just start clapping and applauding every time. You'd go, hey, thanks for giving us the White House, dummies, and just dunk on them all the time. Matter of fact, don't do interviews anymore. Just set up a basketball hoop in the studio and just shoot hoops while you're talking.
the other thing I want to ask is,
Where am I, and do you smell almonds?
all these Republicans who aren't supporting him right now, did they
Well, you mean the ones that have seen the evidence against him and aren't stupid?
Understand that if your dad got out of the way, it would be them on the chopping block.
No, they know it wouldn't be because they're not criminals.
Well, it's kind of like the miraculous thing, the last debate, right, which was a total snooze fest. And it was, but they didn't even bring this up. They don't even bring up the weaponization of government. And I always say that, say Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is totally gone, right? I think his actual political career is over. But say Ron DeSantis ever.
Well, it shouldn't have started in the first place. Your dad teed him up. But never mind. Hashtag the best.
Forgot it. They would go after him. They would go after his wife. They would go after his young daughter.
What? No, they wouldn't.
As young as they are, they will do anything. These people are savages.
No, they're not even going after Barron, and I think he's 18 now. They don't give a fuck about Tiffany Dum Dum. They're after you and your brother because you ran the fucking company with your dad.
Now, Ron doesn't have the bank account to fight these guys off. He doesn't have the
Neither do you.
voice to fight them off. He doesn't have the backbone, and that's where you get the rhinos in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't need to fight them off.
What happens is they just cave to conformity because otherwise they'll be smashed into the ground like a nail. The difference with my...
Is that how nails work? I don't know construction. I mean, he's the mogul. Smashed into the ground like a nail. Maybe he means snail?
Father is the harder they hit him, the harder he hit back. Now, my father has the pocketbook, thankfully, otherwise you wouldn't stand a chance, right? To pay for the 10 lawyers you see on the stand.
Yeah. And any reports that they're not getting paid properly is all bullshit, obviously. Ask Rudy Giuliani.
He has a really, really loud voice. He's got a great media presence.
Yes, he is loud. That is true. I mean, when it comes to telling the truth, he certainly is. He has volume, if not.
And that's the one thing that's kept him alive. But none of the other Republicans have that. They would destroy anybody else on the stage in 2.5 seconds.
Real quick, 2.5 seconds. Real quick, how have the Republican Party managed to actually get other Republicans elected in the history of America, if this is the case? Also, how is it that during the time of Donald Trump, Democrats who traditionally were not the most, say, corporate friendly, and certainly weren't, supposedly masters of media manipulation and messaging, how is it that they run big tech, big pharma, big business, woke Hollywood? Like the Democrats during the Trump years single-handedly took over fucking everything? Does it occur to you your dad might be that bad of a problem that they would literally run to Democrats for messaging? If that's the case, and it isn't, but whatever.
And my father really is the first and only line of defense.
Yeah. Well, and I guess everybody's fucked. I'd pack it in, Republicans. You're done.
For 100+ million Americans who they want to censor, they want to deplatform, they want to disarm.
No, not really. I mean, or wasn't Obama going to steal those guns and all that shit?
They want to go after, they want to take away their rights, their liberties, their freedoms.
All of them? Wow. Which ones? I don't know, make their own healthcare choices if they're a woman? I'm just spitballing.
Their voice? My father is a one-man wrecking ball that keeps the lunacy and the tyranny from hitting those 100 million, and it's why he's
a wrecking ball that keeps the tyranny from hitting. So he's a wrecking ball against, I guess, another wrecking ball. So he's like an executive ball clicker. I see. So he's one of the balls. He's one of the tiny little balls on an executive ball clicker. I say. Okay. All right. Well, you might have to draw me a diagram.
Beloved by people in this country.
Yeah, well,
all 8 of them.
Let's move over to the house.
Of course, they're
house a little bit here because obviously there's some Republicans.
We're doing great.
Republicans who are firmly behind you. There's some who's not. And I don't really call this ousting.
Yeah, 50-50. He used to have 90%. Now he's got half the party.
Of McCarthy, a Trump movement. I think they're two separate things. But what's your feeling on the fact, because you guys had a pretty good relationship with McCarthy at the time.
Still do.
Yeah. So what's your feeling?
And a great relationship with Gates.
Yeah. I mean, what's your feeling on where?
We don't care. We're about power.
Where this is going? Is it going in the right direction? How can your father help? Because he's influential.
Yes, he could help. Yeah, have him come in. I think you should get everybody around a table and film it. You know what? I got it. I don't know why it took me this long. The Apprentice, Speaker of the House. He could stream it on Trump media and social company or whatever the fuck his company is, right? The SPAC. And it'd be a web series because he's not going to get any network shit, obviously. Mainly because of the HR problems they would run into with him and Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. It's just not, you're not going to get a studio that's able to do that right now. And you could get around, the writer's strike is over, but then these guys can't read, so it doesn't matter. So but Trump comes in, work with me, Greg Kelly. And you can, everybody gets around a table and he goes through each of the speakers and goes, "You're fired," based on whoever the producers tell him should be fired because of the numbers they're getting on the show, not because of their valid, decision-making capabilities or any of their, actual talents for the job or any of that shit. But who plays the Omarosa and all that kind of stuff. It'll be good, whatever. And it'll be a complete waste of time and a joke, just like The Apprentice.
Listen, I think he'll do anything to help. He wants to see the Republican Party actually coalesce together.
How about fleeing the country? I think that might help. Just has he considered that? I mean, honest to God, flee the country. Shave his head like Kurtz in fucking Apocalypse Now,
and fight Joe Biden as opposed to, it's one mistake we make as Republicans. Now, when I say we, I think my father's the one person who didn't do this. He actually coalesced Republicans, but they always
he totally did, out of fear.
Fight themselves. They never actually point the guns toward the enemy. They point the guns to themselves. Now, do I think it was a mistake?
Yes, the Republicans are a circular firing squad right now. That's what that's called. That's just point the guns towards themselves. Are a circular. Do they teach colloquialisms, standard American colloquialisms at Horton?
Mistake not shutting down government 100%. They should. You know what? Our deficits are trillions, $2 trillion a year.
And your dad is responsible for a third of the national debt.
They don't do a damn thing about border security. They give away money to every stupid cause in the world while our...
You mean like the wall?
Schools and our roads. The courthouse I was in today. Mm-hmm. It was disgusting, Carl. It smells.
That's your dad. You should stay upwind from him. Yeah, I don't know that you've ever been in court with your dad before, but anybody will tell you that you want to be, because he's just... He's a nervous farter, and he'll just, whenever he pulls on his jacket, you know what? Everybody said that he was murmuring in the courtroom. He wasn't making that noise with his mouth.
You had cables running across all the walls.
Right, because it's an old building and new technology.
It's a disgrace, meaning the fact that that's a representation of our legal system in this country.
It's not. It's a limitation of the change in technology over time.
But you see the same thing at airports. I mean, how often do you fly through an airport and you've got acoustical tile ceilings that are falling down, right? But yet, we're running
Well, if you fly a shitty private plane like your dad's, you're doing a lot of regional airports, you're not seeing the big commercial place. By the way, chat room, if I may, real quick, while this asshole is dunking on the United States of America, has anybody been to LAX lately? Or to Chicago O'Hare lately? Or the fucking new Kansas City airport? Or Dallas, for fuck's sake. Good Lord. Most of them are brand fucking new. This asshole does not know what he's talking about. He doesn't fly commercial. How the fuck would he know? Yeah, we need more federal funds to renovate those buildings. It's an excellent point. Right? LAX was terrible in 2013. It's been a while. Yeah, it's much better now. Vegas? Jesus Christ. Vegas is a giant fucking mall with airplanes. Oi. Just like...
Drive around in New York City on the roads.
$1 trillion deficit, and our bridges are falling down, our roads...
Hey, asshole. Biden just passed the infrastructure bill. The funding is starting to happen. Roads and bridges are being fixed. Your fucking dad couldn't get one passed even with the votes.
Suck, and our trains are antiquated. They're from 1950s. You look at China where they're building these bullet trains that go 300 miles an hour.
That burst into flames and go to nowhere and are $1 trillion worth of debt that they can't pay off.
We're falling behind the rest of the world, and that's before you get to 5G.
Okay, first of all, fuckwad, the idea that Trump or any Republicans are fighting for modernized railroad, kiss my ass. You motherfuckers have been shooting this stuff down forever.
That's before you get to tech infrastructure that actually makes businesses run.
Yeah, that's why rural broadband was an integral part of the infrastructure bill that the Obama or the Biden administration passed. You're welcome.
It's before you get to so many other things, and we still have.
Like what? What other things? How shitty your buildings are? What Trump Tower smells like?
A $2 trillion deficit, because guess what? Every single day we're sending another $100 billion over the Ukraine to fight these wars and protect.
No. This is the executive vice president of the Trump organization, and I would like you to listen again to what he says right now. Listen to the actual words he's using.
What? Every single day we're sending another $100 billion over. Have a $2 trillion deficit, because guess what? Every single day we're sending another $100 billion over the Ukraine to fight these wars and protect.
Okay, first of all, there's one war. Second, we're not sending $100 billion a fucking day to Ukraine. We've sent 140 in total, which we have a near $1 trillion defense budget just for our country, and we're not even in a fucking war.
Protect other people's borders, and we don't do a damn thing about our own.
Yeah.
The Biden administration has raised the funding for the border every year.
And so I think my feeling is, at some point, when are you going to stand up?
When are you going to recognize that the wall fucked everything up? The wall made it worse.
Up and stop allowing that to happen? Like, when are you
allowing what to happen? That life? What do you want? What are we allowing? Republicans to stonewall high-speed rail in the country?
Are you going to put your kind of flag in the sand and say, we're going to start
your flag in the sand? Where did these assholes learn to talk? Where? How can you speak that often to that many people in media and not get any colloquialisms right? It's like fucking Ozzy Osbourne in No More Tears. He who laughs last is just a hand in the bush.
Presenting America first, and it's tough.
Real quick before I let you go.
It's tough putting America first. Especially with infrastructure, which my dad didn't pass, and getting out of Afghanistan for these forever wars, which my dad didn't do. And when we're sending $100 billion a day to Ukraine, dude, if we were sending $100 billion a day to Ukraine, this war would have lasted 6 days, and there would be a Ukrainian flag on the fucking Kremlin today.
Oh, your dad's name's been floated for speaker. Would he take it? Is he motioning for it? Come on.
I mean, personally, I think it'd be the coolest damn thing in the entire world. I would make sure he got.
Because I don't understand what that job entails at all, and I just think fucking whatever. It just sounds good. Speaker of the House, it sounds like a movie that that Rob Schneider stars in.
Got a bigger gavel than the small little one that they have. Like I think
for his tiny little hands, just because. Why would you do that to your dad? Why would you?
I think Trump needs you could make it. You're
Trump. He's your fucking dad. Just say he.
Craftsman, like a huge gavel and
huge.
But honestly, I think he would bring the party together in a great way. He has tremendous.
No, he wouldn't.
Tremendous respect among that body. He has tremendous respect for a lot of the people in there. But we need to start.
He what?
Among that body, he has tremendous respect for a lot of the people in there. But
he has tremendous respect for a lot of people in there. Not all of them, obviously.
We need to start fighting the actual enemy, which is a crooked president and a crooked family who has profited for far too long off the United States of America.
Yeah, we are. Your dad and you. And we get it. Yeah, you. I mean, former president, but still.
We got to start pointing our guns at them instead of ourselves. And
okay. How about stop using fucking gun analogies?
Typical Republicans that, the infighting, and especially in an election year, meaning
exactly.
we're coming into the election. We better start fighting the Democrats and bad policies and stop screwing around with ourselves.
Yeah, you might need actual policies. Also, what the fuck is with this doppelganger suit situation? Is there now a uniform that's seriously? Have we gone from brown shirts to red ties? Is that how it works? Did they coordinate it, or did they forget to fucking call ahead?
I'm in. Eric, pleasure.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the hand job. Honestly, it was one of the best of my life. And say hi to Don for me or whatever. And by the way, don't listen to anybody. Your beard does make your chin look smaller, but I think that's fine.
All right. There you heard it, folks. Coming up.
Yeah, there you heard it, folks, with the thing, with this guy said the thing. That's almost true. Fuck.